Live on location in 3, 2. Ladies, I'm more ladies. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Hendrix. You already know what this is. LSU versus Iowa. Iowa versus LSU. Post-game. No, not post-game, but post-game breakdown of their Elite 8 matchup last night. That happened on April Fool's Day. I'm dead ass. We got some breaking news in terms of South Carolina and Camila Cardoso. I thought it was an April Fool's joke that she actually declared for the WNBA draft, but I guess I'll save that for my mock draft video. I want to specifically focus on LSU versus Iowa. Then I'll give a USC versus Connecticut breakdown. I'll give that a separate video because I didn't watch every minute of that game in comparison to this LSU versus Iowa game. Now, we got a lot to break down right now. Obviously, my breakdowns kind of run from like 15 to 20 minutes because I really want to tackle everything. And that's why I didn't do this video yesterday. On top of watching the USC versus UConn video and just being like absolutely tired, I was like, why not just give it a second? Let me get my thoughts together. I even wrote down the stuff that I wanted to talk about in terms of this matchup. Amazing game, by the way. I hope everyone watched it. It was a great game, but I think from my perspective, again, this is just from my perspective, right? From my perspective, it really would have been like more of a classic to me if it didn't seem like LSU was just game plan-less out there. You get what I'm saying? I felt like LSU threw the game. So let's just start there. LSU versus Iowa. I went into the game. In my pregame video, right? My pregame video, go check that out if you didn't check that out. I went into the game and I was just like, I'm not sure why Iowa was the favorite. Now, the odds weren't too crazy, but I'm not sure why the sports books were riding with Iowa so hard because I was just like, I feel like LSU has a really good chance in this game because they have post presence. Iowa doesn't have any post presence. Anissa Morrow, Angel Reese, who is hanging with them in the paint. Now, if they try to crowd them in the paint, if you put Michaela out there, you put Haley Van Lith out there, you got Flau'jae out there, they can all light it up from three when they want to. Flau'jae shooting 60% from three in the tournament. Haley, if she gets it going, it's even tougher for your team. So I thought LSU really had this game in the bag. I really did. The reason I'm like upset, or I'm like not upset, I'm disappointed that LSU didn't take that win. You know what? Because you know what it looked like? It reminded me of the Celtics. It reminded me of looking at a team that should be winning the game, but is doing everything, is literally working against themselves in order to win, right? And we're going to break down all of this and a lot of, again, Haley Van Lith, they turned the comments off on her March Madness post, and she got like less than, I think she and Angel Reese got less than, or any senior got less than 48 hours to declare for the WNBA draft. Shit's a mess right now, bro. I actually feel bad for her. But let's get into this game. It's crazy because I'm pretty sure LeBron was talking about this in his podcast with JJ Redick. He said, why is it that coaches like switch up offensive game plans when the defense hasn't shown that they can stop your first offensive scheme? And this was my biggest problem with Mulkey and coaching staff. Y'all know how I feel about this. And I'm not even sure if I want to continue making the same argument because I feel like I'm going to tire you guys out because it's like it's going to be the same argument for me because everything comes back to the same shit I said that needs to be fixed in women's basketball, specifically women's college basketball, right? But Anissa and Angel, they're killing in the first quarter. So first off, I look at the first quarter and I'm just like, okay, Iowa comes out of the gate shooting crazy. First play of the game, Haley Van Lith goes under a screen. I was just like, Caitlin's going for 4. If this first play of the game if this is the defense we're playing right now, she's going for 40, right? But Anissa and Angel on the offensive end, they were doing like this. Anissa was doing this seal in the posting, lob over the top, catch the ball, go up. Angel Reese was getting offensive rebounds. Obviously, no one was banging with them in the paint. They were feeding them in the post. Angel was going to work. Now, they were still double teaming her early on in the game, But Anissa and Angel had it going. Angel definitely had it going. She, put backs and all that. They had it going in the post. For some reason, okay, they're down. What was it? They were down 9-17 or something like that. Iowa came out shooting 7 of 9 from the field. But I looked at it. I looked at the game, and I was just like, at the little box score insight. I looked at the game. I said, hold on. I was shooting the shit out of the ball right now, but they're only up 5-7 points. So hold on, LSU's in a good position. I think too many times a lot of teams will look like, oh my gosh, we're losing, and this team is shooting hot from the floor. But you gotta look at the bigger picture. Even though you're using the box score stats, you gotta look at the bigger picture. This team is shooting 70-80%, and you're not down 10, 15, 20. That means you're doing something right. If the team's shooting 80% and you're over here shooting 40, 50%, but you're only down 5-7, what that should tell you something. You get what I'm saying? And relatively on the same amount of shot attempts too, right? Kim Mulkey decides to switch the offense. I forget which quarter it was because LSU got rolling. I think they had a 10-0 run to end the second quarter. She switches the offense to this horns type set, which runs the wings across, Flauge across, Michaela across, and then they have this stupid ass post entry, strong side of the ball. Someone's in the corner, someone's on the wing. There's a person on the block, which was Angel, and they're trying to feed Angel the ball. I don't get how this is so difficult. Why not take that player, which was usually Michaela Williams or Haley Van Lith, get them out of the corner, make sure that the post is happening on the weak side of the floor. For some reason, I'm just like, give the ball to Morrow. Get everyone out the way. Let her work. Because if they bring the double team, now it's going to be easier for her to see where the double teams come, where the triple team comes. Angel Reese, if she's on the weak side and they try to double, it makes it easier for her to scan the floor and see where her teammates are. Kim Mulkey switches up the offense that was working, and that was Anissa Morrow catching the ball deep, Angel Reese catching the ball deep. They had a few kickouts for three. I think Michaela Williams had a couple early threes. Haley hit her first 3 of the game, right? So the shit was working, and then they switched. That pissed me off. Angel got hurt like sometime in the second quarter, I think it was. That really changed the momentum of the game because she was actually hurt. Like you could see her limping around the place and stuff like that. Adrenaline is a hell of a drug. So she was playing off of that. But Angel Reese wasn't 100% in that game, which really sucks because the offense you were in, stick to that offense. Why leave that offense? You get what I'm saying? I don't want to take anything away from Iowa, but the reason I'm not too focused on Iowa right now is because they played like how they've played the entire season. My strategy was limit Caitlin's teammates, and LSU didn't do that. How many times did LSU get beaten down the court? You get what I'm saying? How many times you have a backdoor cut Kate Martin? You put Haley Van Lith as Caitlin Clark's matchup, which should have never ever happened, which brings me to, so all props to Iowa. Like, congrats to them for, the reason I'm focusing on LSU is because I feel like LSU threw that game, or at least threw the chances that would actually put them in a position to win because they lost by 7 points. Let's call that 10 points. 7 points, garbage time shots and stuff like that. Let's say 7 to 10 points, right? Kim Mulkey and the coaching. I spoke about this in my pregame video. I said not one team, I watched Caitlin Clark all season, not one team has had a defensive scheme for Caitlin Clark, according to her talent, just trying to contain her. Because I said, this shit, and this is the shit that pisses me off, and I'm sorry y'all have to hear me make this argument again. You have umpteen coaching staff sitting on the bench. You, Kim Mulkey, are getting paid umpteen millions of dollars. You have no defensive scheme for Caitlin Clark. You got Haley Van Lith and Angel Reese out there shrugging after Caitlin hits tough shots, but I'm just like, what is the scout? And this is why I have to defend Haley Van Lith, because what is the position you put your players in to where you have no game plan for Caitlin Clark? First play of the game, Haley's going under a screen. What are we doing right now? You get what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing right now? Caitlin only shoots, or would rather shoot, going to her left. Look at Caitlin Clark's highlights. Look at most of Caitlin Clark's shots. Which way is she stepping back? She's stepping back to her left. Why the hell is Hailey Van Lith and anyone else shading her to her left? The goal should be push this player to her right. Not saying that she can't make those shots, right? But she would rather go to her left, drift into her three. When she broke the record for points in the season, or all-time D1 points, she was drifting to her left, far from deep. She stood still, Hailey backed up, didn't think that she would shoot the shit, pulled the shit in her face. No defensive scheme. I could have given you a defensive scheme just off of containment because, again, my strategy was don't let her teammates get off. Like, if you could have stopped Kate Martin and a Falter from getting 2 of their buckets, they win by 1, or you actually have a chance to win. And how many times did LSU give up easy buckets, transition buckets, didn't get back on defense, rip drives to the hoop where you're falling asleep on deep. How the hell do you fall asleep with the wheel in front of you? The ball is right in front of you. How do you fall asleep on defense? So all these easy buckets that her teammates got, I was just like, limit her teammates, find a way to contain Clark because she's going to go off. She shot 29 shots. 20 of her 29 shots were 3-pointers. I told you all, she doesn't shoot mid-ranges. It's either she plays like a damn 2K Park player. Like, it's either a dunk, layup at the hoop, or a 3-ball. Ain't nobody shoot the mid-range. That's how she plays. So find a defensive scheme to contain her. My scheme was, how about icing her? Everything she does, ice it to her right. Make her shoot a sidestep going right. Make her do whatever she want to do going right. Do not give her her drift into her left because that's what she wants to do anyway. That's where she's most comfortable. At least try to make her uncomfortable. So here's Hailey Van Lith getting fucking torched, even though her matchup, Mulkey should have never had Hailey Van Lith guarding Caitlin Clark. You had Flau'jae Johnson. Why not put HVL on Gabby Marshall and then put Michaela Williams, who's kind of like a similar build to Kate Martin? I think Kate Martin's a smarter player, obviously. She's more seasoned. Michaela's a freshman. But at least that matchup makes sense. Why do you have Hailey Van Lith starting on Caitlin Clark? And a lot of people are saying in the comments, oh, they didn't want Flau'jae to be in foul trouble. But that goes back to my point of your defensive plan. You don't have to be aggressive with Caitlin Clark. It goes back to this. It goes back to scouting, right? It goes back to your preparation for the game. You don't have to get physical with Caitlin Clark. I don't need Hannah Hidalgo defense on Caitlin Clark. I don't need you to get physical. Will there be times to get physical? Yeah, because I also think they should have hard hedged Caitlin Clark when she goes to her right. Use ISIS the pick and roll to her right. Hard hedge her. But I don't need you to be physical. I don't need you to risk fouls. Pick what you can pick, but all I need you to do is shade her going right. If she tries to go left, stand still. Shade everything she does to the right. Try to get back taps. Try to close, the pick and roll defensive triangle as she drives. Get her off the 3-point line, force her into the paint. Let her take the 2, let her take the mid-range because it's the 3s that's going to hurt the team. Where's the defensive plan? Where is the scouting to tell this player, this is what we're doing, this is how we're going to try and contain Clark? You put Hailey Van Lith on her. That's the wrong matchup. I can't get mad at Hailey Van Lith on defense because she shouldn't have been guarding Caitlin Clark anyway. Now, this is where I will blame Hailey Van Lith. Hailey Van Lith, you are a player. No matter what people say about you, you're still a great player. As a great player, sometimes you have to make the decision of, this shit isn't working. Let me switch it up. You have to take that initiative. Fuck what your coaching telling you because they already put you in a bad position. Now you're in the game. You have to say, well, she keeps burning me. She keeps toasting me going this way. Why don't I try something else? That's where Hailey has to take the initiative and step up, right? She already not having a good game on offense, but that was kind of further on in the second half. She's not having a good game in offense. Switch up the defense to try and make it harder on Caitlin Clark. That didn't happen. But for the most part, the scouting, y'all know me, this shit irks, bro. This shit annoys it frustrates me, bro. It's like, I don't like. What are y'all getting? What are y'all get? Y'all at LSU. You probably make decent money. This is one of your most important games, and you have no defensive plan just to contain Clark. I've watched Clark the entire season. I've told y'all I haven't seen not one team put some scheme in to stop her. It's just like, oh, she's gonna go crazy. And my whole strategy isn't even stopping her. My whole strategy is just containing her. Like, get her off the three-point line. Because if you all pay attention, go look at Caitlin Clark's box scores. Go look at her game logs. A lot of her shots, most of her shot attempts are three balls. Get her off the three-point line. Or contain her to the point where if she's going to go and try to beat you guys with the three ball, just hope she doesn't have a 40-50% shooting night. Or actually, hope she doesn't have a 50% shooting night. Hope she can stay around that 30-40% mark. You get what I'm saying? So I don't, in terms of like Hailey Van Lith, I told you she had to have a big game. She couldn't have one of these 2 of 10, 1 of 9 from the field games. I said, Hailey, I need a 2 of 3 from 3. I need a 4 of 6 from the field. The way she was playing in the first half was actually good. You get what I'm saying? Her defense was actually good because she was hustling back to Clark. But that fulfilled my defensive scheme, not LSU's. The way she was cutting off Clark, and obviously we're going to ignore the first play of the game, but the way she was cutting off Clark and the way she was hustling after Clark and setting her up for Clark turnovers, especially when Angel Reese was in the passing lane, the way she was playing in the first quarter, first half, that was fine. But Kim Mulkey needs to make adjustments. This, to me, the bigger throw comes from Kim Mulkey not making. She made the wrong adjustments, and then she didn't make any adjustments. I don't get how that works, right? You take LSU, you take your team out of a good flowing offense, an offense that got you the lead and gave you a little space. Then you, in the second half, you decide to keep HVL on Caitlin just for her to get a 40 ball dropped on her. You put Poa on Caitlin. Poa comes into the game, gets shook by absolutely nothing. Gets her ankles taken by nothing. Caitlin's just dribbling the ball up the court. Ain't shit was happening. She wasn't even trying to cross her up. Poa just friggin' runs over herself for no reason. Whole time, Flau'jae, you got Flau'jae on the court. Killing. Put Flau'jae on Caitlin. You don't need that aggressive defense. I really do think this is a throw from the LSU coaching staff. I don't really have much else to say about. I want to defend the players. Yes, the players can do different stuff, and it's on the players to kind of like, okay, this isn't working, let me switch it up. But you're the coaching staff, bro. Like, you put these players in a position. It's your job to put these players in a position to win the game, and you failed at that. You did not make any adjustments for these players. You had them out there looking bad. HVL should have never been on Caitlin Clark. Caitlin is a big guard. For those of y'all don't know, she's 6 foot, 6'1". She can shoot from the parking lot. She's quick with her pass. She's got quick feet. She's not an easy matchup. HVL should never be on that type of matchup. You get what I'm saying? Now, during the game, again, I don't know how many times I'm going to repeat this point. Angel Reese is in the post. She's getting triple teamed. At a time, she was getting quadruple teamed. And she's off balance a lot of the time. Doesn't understand her footwork. Doesn't understand how many dribbles she has. Where to look on her passes. In college basketball, in women's college basketball, you need to have these players developing their individual skill sets before your team sets. You need to prioritize your player's individual skill set before your team set. I don't know how many times I'm going to say this, but I'm going to keep saying this. So again, who does this go back to? It goes back to LSU coaching staff. Because there's no way you got Anissa Morrow and Angel Reese not having 1v1s in practice. That has to happen. HVL is a 3v3 gold medal winner. You should have Hailey Van Lith versus Michaela Williams. Hailey Van Lith versus Flau'jae Johnson. Iron sharpens iron. Right? You need to be building their individual skill sets, or you have what Angel Reese does, what Anissa Morrow does. In the second half, you shouldn't be shooting that inefficient. that inefficiently from the field. Right? Because Angel's now getting quadruple team, she's getting triple team, and doesn't know where to put the ball on the ground, doesn't know how to get her footwork right, is shooting from her hip instead of leaning over and shooting, over her opponent, right? Nisa Morrow's catching, she's athletic as hell. Y'all didn't tap into that at all in the game. She's athletic as hell and missing like wide open bunnies, like skill set. Individual skill set. Get that player accustomed to one dribble. Where's my open teammate? What can I do with one dribble in this triple team? What's the best option? What's the best look? How do I use my feet to put myself in a proper position to score or assist on this bucket? Right? Because the footwork going 1v1 is a lot different than the footwork going 1v3. You have to be sharp in those areas. And because LSU's post players weren't sharp in those areas, the post presence that they clearly have the advantage, the post, the rebounding, the block presence, the blocking presence that they have in the game, that gets subdued because I was just throwing numbers at them and they're inefficient. They're inefficient when they get those defensive numbers thrown at them. This comes back to the LSU coaching again. Now, just in wrapping this up, the HVL slander, right? The Hailey Van Lith slander. Hailey Van Lith is, as she said, she's trying to learn a different position, right? She's trying to learn the point guard position. At Louisville, she was a scorer, so she was more so a two guard. But at LSU, she's trying to learn a different position. I think when I first heard her say that, I was just like, I don't know if that's true. I just think you guys have too much talent and they don't know how to implement you in that roster. I did a video on this as well, but since that video was 2 months ago, let's give a little recap of, Hailey Van Lith's situation now. Hailey Van Lith is not a bad player. She's not a bad defensive player either. Like, this game is just going to make her look really, really bad. But this is why I got to defend Hailey Van Lith. I got to defend Hailey Van Lith. This is why. One, I don't think it was her fault. I think she was put in a bad position. I think she was put in a fucked up position by her coaching and her team, right? But Hailey was never used on this team in the role that she should be used. Be that as it may, like I said, there's some things the player has to take responsibility for. Hailey, you're never going to play the 3. You're never going to play the 4. You're never going to play the 5, right? As a point guard, even though you're a scoring guard, we put you at the 2. I get that. But as a guard, you're going to have to learn how to facilitate, how to facilitate, when to score, how to set your teammates up. Certain things like spacing. There were times where Hailey would drive around the perimeter, sink into the perimeter, and try to make a post pass to Angel Reese. And I'm just like, you're fucking up the spacing because here you are below the perimeter. Now that bounce pass is easy for Caitlin to interfere with, for the big to interfere with. You're supposed to be on the perimeter, threatening to pull up, and then getting that bounce pass to Angel Reese. So simple shit like that. As a guard, it's your responsibility to get better just as a guard. In my opinion, that starts with learning how to be a facilitator, right? Juju Watkins, her next level is going to be facilitating, because what she's going to have to understand is I can get these buckets much easier when I know how to pass, when I know how to put my teammates in a position to score the ball. Check out Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark averages 30 points a game, but she also averages 8 assists a game. Juju Watkins averages 27 points a game and averages 3 assists a game. If you up those assists, if you get those defenders off you, or at least respecting your teammates, now those points per game goes up because you're on an island more of the time and you get to operate in that space, right? For Hailey, your whole goal this offseason, whatever you choose to do in your career, I hope you go pro, because if anyone takes this recency bias or takes her bad game or just takes a bad season and try to smear that as her whole career, that's a stupid move in my opinion. She's still a top 20 college player and she's going to be a great pro. But for her, whoever picks her up, if she returns, her whole goal needs to be understanding how to be a guard. You have the scoring down, meaning I could put you at the 2, tell you to go get a bucket, and you could go get a bucket. That confidence is fucking wiped. So you have to instill that confidence in her again. So hopefully she has that go button to just go get a bucket. But I know she can do that. I need to know, can you run an offense? Can you put your teammates in a position to be effective? Do you understand how to feed a post properly? And it's the simple shit. It's not even the crazy shit. It's not like go command the triangle. It's like, no, feed your posts, understand when they're open, understand when they're gonna make a backdoor cut or they're gonna spin down low to a lower block, feed a lob pass, work on your lob passes, work on your entry passes. It's the simple shit. I'm talking baseline level shit. I don't need her coming out looking like Jason Kidd or Caitlin Clark. I just need simple shit. Learn how to make the right pass at the right time. Simple shit. And then when you're scoring, when these players start reacting to your facilitating, now when it's time for you to go hit that green light and go get a bucket, you're on that type of timing too. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes the game comes back to the shit that you're not good at. That's just what it is. Like if you're not a good free throw shooter, you always end up at the free throw line, but you're not making free throws. The next level to your game is to make those free throws, right? Might be the next level to your game might be a mid-range jumper. The next level to your game might be understanding when you're in a defensive slide when to go from running back to a defensive slide. Some simple shit, some advanced shit, right? Sometimes it's the shit that you're not good at that will take your game to the next level. That was kind of lengthy, but that's my breakdown of LSU versus Iowa. Again, shouts out to Iowa. I wasn't really focused on them for this video because, again, they stayed consistent to how they've been playing the entire season. They didn't switch up. They stayed composed down the stretch. Caitlin Clark is Caitlin Clark. You know what I'm saying? Is why she getting offered $5 million to come play in another league. But Iowa just stayed true. But I really do think it was LSU beating themselves. And I would know that as a Celtics fan. I know when a team is basically choking. Okay, I've seen it happen. So before we say, oh, I'm hating on Iowa, no. It's just that I watched LSU throw a game that they probably should have won. And the people that are going to get blamed aren't the ones that should be blamed. That's all I got to say. But that's going to do it for this video. If you all enjoyed it, let me know what you all think in the comments as well. But if you enjoyed it, you know what to do. Subscribe if you're new. It's been your boy Hendrix. I'm out of here. Take care. Stay safe. Stay blessed. Peace.